Hi everyone, I'm Mary and I'm with Hawg Designs, and tonight I'm going to paint a cute little Valentine sign. So it's going to be a layered sign. So yeah, so I just thought I'd tell you just a little bit about me. Hawg Designs, I make home decor items. So if you see behind me on my shoulder back here, I really enjoy making tiered tray items. So I also have created a group called Wild for Tiered Trays. I just started that group just a few weeks ago, so I'm really just building the group. So if you have interest in joining that, it's again Wild for Tiered Trays, and so I'll be sharing staging ideas, and people can throw out areas of that they're having difficulties in staging their tiered trays, and so the community can help give some pointers, or of course I'll be helping as well. So just wanted to throw that out there as an option if that's something of interest to you. So tonight we'll just get started here. I found this cute little filigree heart at Joann's Fabrics, and so I thought that was my inspiration. I thought, oh, this will be so cute to make a Valentine sign with it. So, and then I have this cute little saying that says, "My favorite place in the whole world is next to you." So I thought that was really appropriate for a Valentine item. So, and then our background is going to be a lattice. And so I have my stencil already on my board that I've base coated, and we'll be painting the board tonight, as well as the other pieces that are going to go with it. So what I like to use Sherwin-Williams paint. It's just gives a nice texture and everything to it. So I will be using black for our base coat for our board, and then on our heart I'm going to use a chalk paint. It's going to be Waverly Lacquer is the color, and so that'll be on our heart. So I've already applied a stencil to my board that's been base coated. So that's what this blue color is a stencil. So we'll be painting that now. And I'm going to move my camera down here a little bit. I might need to do a little adjustment. It's been a while since I've been live. And before I start painting, I think what I'm going to do is get my computer up and running here so that I can see any comments, because I may not be able to see them on my phone. There we are. I will be using, let me shut that off. All right, we got some people on. I see Diana and Misty and Kathy. So great. All right. So when I apply my paint onto a stencil, I use makeup sponges. So I will be dabbing my makeup sponge into the paint, and then kind of offloading it so that I get rid of some of that excess paint. And then we're just going to apply our paint onto our base coated board. So it's just going to take a little time to tap all this on there. So how is the weather where everyone is at? I live in Iowa, so we had just a little snow flurries this afternoon, and didn't amount to much. We were expecting a few inches today, but maybe it'll come yet tonight, but nothing major so far. So So Kathy is from Ohio and it's freezing, a high of 24. I think it's a little colder here in Iowa. It's about like 3 degrees. Yeah. Frigid. So speaking of frigid, I apologize for not being able to come on last night. I had an emergency where I was making supper and I ran to our basement to get some vegetables out of the freezer, and lo and behold, we had a freezer full of items that was thawing. So I had to quickly improvise, clean out my freezer and find coolers. And because it is freezing outside, I was able to take those those coolers outside, and my items are nicely frozen. So there is a plus to frigid temperatures in January when your freezer goes belly up. So now I am on the look for a new freezer. So it's always something. So Misty is in California. I'm sure it's nice and sunshiny there. I see Melissa. It's cloudy and in the 50s in Texas. So got a couple of you in some balmy areas compared to frigid Iowa here. So this just takes some time. I think we'll probably have to give it 2 coats for nice coverage. So it's just a lot of tapping. I don't know, can you even see what I'm doing? Yeah, kind of. Yes, the joy of being a homeowner. There's always something that comes up. I'm kind of glad that we haven't had a lot of snow. My husband was driving our SUV and he said, I have to get new brakes on here. We have a problem. So I've been driving my car back and forth to work, and fortunately I live in the country, and so I go through some pretty crazy winter roads at times. I live out on a gravel road, so it can be a little adventurous. Live next to a snowmobile trail, so as well as land where they have it preserved for pheasants forever, so we have lots of wildlife. Not many trees. I live in Iowa, so we have a lot of cornfields and things, but because I have a pasture next to our property, we have lots of deer and turkey and pheasants. So this is kind of just tedious. Tap, tap, tapping. Earlier in the week, my granddaughter is in dance. She is 12 years old, so I got to attend a dance recital, and that was fun because, you know, with the COVID, I haven't been out much, or there hasn't been many events that you can attend other than just, for instance, typically here in Iowa, we are pretty open. We don't have too much lockdown, but they do limit the number of people to certain events, and so typically it would have been just parents only, but I was able to attend, so that was fun. Especially fun because I raised 3 boys, and so having some granddaughters is a new experience and a lot of fun. So I'm really looking forward to, or I've been having a lot of fun. I have 2 granddaughters, so they are fun. All right, we're on our second coat. So another idea I thought that what we could do is to make this a sign where you detach the heart and can put a new mini signs on it for the different seasons. I think this trellis design would look really cute for spring and summer. Yes, Kathy, I did make the stencil. I use a Cricut to make my stencils. So I cut that out actually yesterday when I was hoping to come live. And so then after you cut your stencil out, then you go through a process called weeding to remove all the negative space that you don't want. And then the space that's open is what you actually then stencil your design. And if I believe my board is 9 1/4 by 10, I believe. So I resized my design to fit this board. I did make a smaller board a few weeks ago, and it just gave me all kinds of inspiration of ideas that I can use this trellis design for. All right, we're getting close. Having a nice coverage. We'll be able to remove the stencil film from the board here in a minute. Well, Kathy, you need to get that Cricut out. It is a lot of fun. I primarily use my Cricut for vinyl. I started out with the actual vinyl and made a few signs and things with the vinyl, and then I transitioned to the removable vinyl, and I've also now have made designs with Mylar, so I can use that design on multiple signs instead of just a one-time use like this stencil that I'm currently using is a one-time use. So, and then I've made a few things with heat transfer vinyl. That's a lot of fun. Last year was I created or thought of a word for my business to keep me motivated, to keep me going, and my word for the year was motivated. So I made myself a shirt that said motivated. It was kind of twofold. I was motivated to really work my business, as well as motivated to losing some weight. And I was successful in losing some weight, but I gained a few pounds back over Christmas here, so I definitely need to get on the road again to get those pounds off, and a few more. I have my middle son is getting married in July, so I have some motivation to lose some weight there. Thinking about the keto plan is kind of, along with some exercise. I like exercising, and I was doing really well when COVID was really going on big time, where I was fortunate enough to be able to work from home for several months. And so I was able to go for walks and bike rides and things like that, so much more than I am now that I'm back to the office. So, all right, I think I'm about satisfied with the coverage here. So I'm just gonna let this set a minute. I'm going to set it aside for a second. What I'm going to do, since I have my black paint out, I'm going to then stencil our lettering. Once in a while, my stencil gets a little bubble in it, in the words, and so I really need to work those bubbles out before I actually apply my paint. So that's what I'm doing right now. I have a couple little bubbles here. So with this, I really want to be careful so I don't get any bleeding. Let's see here, I gotta get my little scraper out. Hi Debbie, thanks for joining. So Kathy, you follow a keto plan and you love it. Yeah, set back to at Christmas time. Do you do any of the supplements, or are you just strictly just a diet? I just found a new plan that I'm going to do some research on. It's, oh, I can't remember the doctor's name, but his plan is totally diet, and with 20 carbs maximum for the day. So I'll look at that. Do a little more research before I go in. Debbie, I don't know. I have this little scraper tool, and just when I took my vinyl off, I had a bubble for whatever reason, and it is just not laying down nicely. So we're gonna go for it. So I'm just gonna be really careful in those couple places and make sure I don't get any bleeding there. But if I do, then once in a while, if I get some bleeding, I will just take a fine point paintbrush and kind of clean it up. So, because I'm kind of fussy. I am a little OCD at times. All right, we'll let this dry for a minute, and we'll put another coat on. And then, now that our paint is pretty dry on here, I'm going to remove the stencil film. And I have this is just a little pick, and I got this particular one at Harbor Freight. So now I'm going to go in and I'm going to pick up all the pieces inside here. And our design will come to life. I like to wait just a little bit before I remove my, let my paint dry a little before I remove my stencil, so that I don't smear the paint. So protein fasting diet that I was on before. Actually, what I would call it was probably lazy keto, and then I really did exercise. I mean, I went for walks on my noon hours, and I rode my exercise bike in the mornings, and grandkids would come over and grandma would go bike riding with them. So I was really very active, along with this kind of a lazy keto. I just tried to really watch my carbs. I didn't have any bread, which I love bread and rolls, and I like my flavored coffee creamers and yeah, all the bad things I like. But so I changed my diet, but I was not 100% keto. But oh, protein fasting diet, and you lost 65 pounds on that. It was through Cleveland Clinic. Yes, Kathy, I did make my stencil using a Cricut. All right, there we go. So here is the lattice. It's pretty cute. I really like this design. So I'm going to set this aside a second. We'll go back to finishing our wording. Again, I'm just trying to get those couple areas that are bubbling up on me. So we'll just give it another light coat, and then that will be ready. Okay. So we'll just remove the stencil from this. And I'm going to wait a little bit to remove the inside of the letters until it dries just a little bit more. So in the meantime, we will paint our heart. And again, I'm using chalk paint for the heart. It's the Waverly chalk paint. It's called Lacquer is the color. So I'm just going to use a sponge, and we'll just do the same technique like what we did with our stencils. I'm just going to tap my paint on this cutout heart shape. Kathy, actually, I am a member of a sign maker group, and this was one of the designs that she designed for us. But it looks relatively easy to make it yourself. You would just have to do some slicing, and I believe. The name of the group that I am in is Junk to Jewels Sign Maker Society, Debbie. And it's a group that not only provides the SDGs, but it also has a lot of business topics that helps businesses grow. But I know that this heart would have been definitely something that the people that have glow forges would have been able to cut out. Those are really popular right now. A lot of people will cut their own wood shapes with a glow forge. Something that I'm looking into, but I'm just not sure where I would place it. Since I live in the country, I have several buildings here, and one of my buildings during the summertime I utilize to do my painting and things, but I don't have, my internet will not reach out there. It's a metal building, and my internet won't work out there, and my Wi-Fi doesn't reach, and my data plan on my phone will not work. So I would need to have internet in order to run a glow forge, so I'm not sure where I would place it. Next to my broken freezer in the basement, maybe. maybe I'll have room if I just move that whole freezer out. There is our painted heart. Let's set that aside a minute, let that dry. And then we'll go back to our little wording here and remove all the insides of our letters. This is really fine print, and it was kind of tricky to actually weeding it to get my stencil ready to lay on the board. And the finer the lettering, the more tedious it is to get it to lay nicely and not have a problem like I have. I'll show you my little problem that happened because the letters are so fine. But I had a couple places where the insides of the letters, after I had it weeded and I put my transfer tape on, that they popped off. And I'll show you. So you'll see on the A here, the inside of my letter was gone. So I'm going to go in and I'm just going to fix that with some white paint. And then my bottom of my F here needs to have a little white paint in there as well. But other than that, it came out looking pretty good. And somehow I got red paint on my lattice. I don't know how that happened. So I'm just taking a baby wipe and I'm just going to clean that up. There we go. All right. So I'm actually going to give this another coat. I see that we have some of the wood is kind of bleeding through, so we'll give that another real quick coat here. I was thinking of potentially dry brushing the edges with a different color, but I don't think we need to. I think it just has a lot of detail in it already that it might distract it, you know, so maybe just leaving it the solid red will be good. All right. Okay, so now do is what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hot glue this on, but if I was to make another one for myself, I would make both of these pieces detachable and I would just attach them with some Velcro, and so that way I can just pop them off and put a new saying, new little sign at the top here. And I think this lattice would just be perfect for spring and summer. So, but for now, we're just going to hot glue these on. we go. And you could put drill a hole through here and put a wire for a wire hanger, and then put a cute little bow here would be really cute. The other thing I thought using this design is turning it this way, maybe with a little wider board, maybe a 12-inch wide board, and put your saying down here, and or off to the side here, but in a different direction. And then over here, because of the wordings, it says my favorite place in the world is next to you. Would be so cute having a little picture of the couple with that wording. Would be really, really cute. But that's what I have for tonight. I think it really came out cute. I just love that lattice. It's just is so trendy, and it's really different. You don't see a lot of that out there right now. So that's what I have for tonight, but I wanted to let you know, for people that just popped on again, that if you are interested or enjoy decorating tiered trays, I have a group out there called Wild for Tiered Trays, and in that group, I actually have just started it, so I don't have a lot of content out there right now, but what I intend to do is help with your staging, giving you some pointers on some what your trouble areas might be, and also just to build the community of others that share their staged tiered trays and things like that. So I'm just going to move the camera over here just a little bit. This is a Valentine tray that I designed, and so it has a variety of different things in it that I have some hand painted things, as well as some signs that I've used, like my Cricut, to make stencils, and made some cute things in there. So yeah, so and I've been working on the next holiday. I have some cute St. Patrick's Day things that I created this weekend, and I'm working on some Easter and spring items. So just wanted to share that with you. If you have any interest, I'd love to see you over there. So anyone, let's see here. I'm just going to check the comments one more time. Yes, Kathy, you need to get that Cricut out. All right, I think that's all I have tonight, and I appreciate you stopping by. So thanks a lot, and we'll see you again. Thanks.